Welcome to our explainer. Today, we're diving into a really powerful story. It's all about how we can find hope and even strength when we're facing a crisis that feels completely and utterly impossible.
Have you ever faced a challenge that just seemed impossible? Of course, you have. We all have. It could be anything, right? A serious illness, this deep, nagging anxiety, or maybe just one of those moments in life where you feel like you have slammed into a brick wall. It's that universal feeling of being up against something so huge, you just can't see a way forward.
So the central figure in the story we're about to hear is Willow Guanyin. Now, in Buddhist tradition, Guanyin is this embodiment of immense compassion, a bodhisattva. And this particular form, Willow Guanyin, is all about healing. That willow branch she holds, it's not just for show. It symbolizes a life that's flexible, Something that can bend under pressure but never breaks. And the water she sprinkles? Well, that's like a soothing balm for all the suffering in the world.
Okay, let's set the scene. We're going to meet the family at the very heart of this story. And really, they were just an ordinary family, living a quiet, peaceful life. Until one day, when everything, and I mean everything, was just shattered in an instant.
So you've got Ammon. He's this hard-working, honest craftsman. Then there's his wife, Shaya, who's just so gentle. And at the center of their world is their little boy, Lele. He's 3 years old, bright as a button, and he's the absolute heart of their home. Their whole world revolves around him.
So just picture this, okay? It's a hot summer afternoon. Lele's out playing in the yard, happy as can be. 1 second, everything is totally normal. The very next, he just collapses. No warning. He starts convulsing and his face turns this terrifying, deathly pale. You can just imagine. His parents are absolutely frantic.
So they rush him to the hospital. And after days of agonizing tests, the doctor comes in with the worst news imaginable. Lele has this extremely rare, acute brain inflammation, and the medicine just isn't working. He tells them to prepare for the worst. In that one moment, seeing her little boy hooked up to all those machines, Shaya's entire world just falls apart. She's completely heartbroken.
So here they are, at a point where science and medicine have done all they can. They've hit a wall. And right then, something else enters the picture. A totally different kind of wisdom. And it comes from Lele's grandmother. And believe me, it changed everything. Lele's grandmother shows up at the hospital. Now, she's a devout Buddhist. And while everyone else is, understandably, falling apart with grief and panic, she has this incredible, centered calm about her. She doesn't come in with any false promises or platitudes. Instead, she offers them a different way to move forward. She takes her daughter-in-law Xiaoya's hand, and she says something so simple but so profound. What she's saying is, look, let the doctors do their job with the physical body, but we have our own work to do, and that's healing our hearts and minds from all this terror and despair.
So she teaches Xiaya to chant the name of Guanyin. But she's very clear. This isn't some magic spell. You're not chanting to force a certain outcome. No, the whole point is to quiet a mind that is just spinning out of control with chaos and fear. The idea is to bring it back to a place of stability. Because, as she explains, when your mind is calm, the energy around you becomes pure.
So that night, completely exhausted but with this new sense of focus, Shaya sits by Lele's bedside, and she just begins to chant, over and over. And as she does, something really incredible starts to happen. But here's the thing. It doesn't happen to her son, not at first. It happens to her. That crushing weight of anxiety, that despair, it starts to lift. And in its place, this warm, peaceful feeling begins to flow through her.
And in this really calm state, somewhere in that space between being awake and being asleep, she has this incredibly vivid vision. She sees a serene figure dressed in white enter the hospital room. It's Willow Guanyin. She's holding a beautiful crystal vase with a green willow branch in it. And she watches as Guanyin gently sprinkles a few drops of pure water from that branch right onto Lele's forehead. And then she hears a calm, clear voice say, "When the heart is pure, the light appears."
Wow. So that vision, that was a massive turning point. And what happened next was, well, pretty incredible. But the real lesson here, the thing we really need to understand, isn't just about the event itself. It's about what it all means.
The very next morning, something truly unbelievable happens. Lele, who's been in this deep coma, he slowly opens his eyes, and he whispers, "Mama, I'm hungry." You can imagine the scene. The doctors come rushing in, and they are just stunned, completely speechless. His dangerously high fever? Gone. That severe inflammation in his brain? It had practically vanished overnight. They had absolutely no medical explanation for it. All they could do was call it a miracle.
So this brings us to the big question, right? What really happened here? Was this some kind of miracle sent from on high, an intervention from a divine source, or was it something else, something from within, a power that the family themselves tapped into?
This is where the grandmother's wisdom is so key. Her explanation completely reframes the whole thing. She says that the chanting didn't just, call for help from some external force. What it really did was awaken the family's own inner light, that power of compassion and clarity that we all have inside of us. By finding that inner calm and freeing themselves from fear, they fundamentally change the energy of the situation.
And that really gets to the core message of this whole story. The bodhisattva, the real power, isn't some faraway being you have to pray to. It's right there, in each sincere, heartfelt recitation. The power is in the act itself, the act of focusing your mind. Every time you do that, you're tapping directly into your own deep well of compassion and strength.
Okay, so this family story is incredible, and it shows this profound power that exists. But here's the best part. You do not need to wait for a massive crisis to access it. Not at all. So let's talk about how you can actually bring this kind of practice into your own everyday life. And first things first, let's be clear. You don't need to be a monk in a temple to do this. You don't have to change your whole life. This is a practice that's specifically designed for our modern, busy, everyday lives. It is totally accessible to anyone, no matter where you are. So there are 3 really simple ways to practice this. The first one is called casual chanting. This is something you do while you're just living, walking, commuting, washing the dishes. You just silently recite the name. Think of it like gently weeding your mind, pulling out those little bits of anxiety as they pop up. The second is focused chanting. For this, you just dedicate 5 minutes a day. That's it. Turn off your phone, sit down quietly, and just focus on the recitation. It's like having a little daily check-in with your own inner light. And finally, number 3 is transformational chanting. This is for when you're feeling angry or frustrated or upset. You use the chant as a kind of pause button, and you ask yourself, okay, what would compassion do right now? It helps you transform that negative energy into something else.
And the ultimate promise here? It's liberation. And we're not just talking about liberation from some huge life and death crisis. It's about liberation from the everyday stuff, the little sufferings, those moments of fear, the flashes of anger, that persistent background anxiety that so many of us live with.
So, when you really think about it, this story isn't just about a little boy getting better, as amazing as that is. It's really about a mother who found a deep inner strength she never knew she had, right when everything seemed completely hopeless. And that leaves all of us with a really important question to reflect on. What part of your life, right now, is just waiting for your own inner light to be awakened?